Welcome to NDC online class, dear learners. I hope that you all are doing very well. Yes, dear students, you have to use the time very properly. You know, as soon as the class starts, you have to take your tests. So use the time very properly so that you can take the challenges very well. Dear learners, this is Schopenhauer, lecturer, Department of English, Notre Dame College, Dhaka. I will take few classes on right form of verbs, dear learners. I'll offer 4 classes on right form of verbs. This is class 1. Dear learners, before we start our class, we have to see what is the aim and objectives and the outcomes of the class. Yes, I will provide basic ideas about simple present and present continuous, as we always call it, simple progressive tense. There are structures, you see, uses, along with some practices. You have got the main aim of our class today, and then I have few objectives. What I'll do, I will explain definitions, contexts and structures of simple present tense and present progressive tense. Yes, dear learners, I have to provide enough diagrams and examples and practices of simple present tense and present progressive tense. Dear learners, yes, I believe that you will be able to use simple present and present progressive tense in real life situation fairly well. And I believe that students will be able to do different practices along with some challenging questions of universities. Okay, dear learners, this is the main objectives, aim and outcomes of this class. Let us start our class today. You'll be happy to see the campus, the loving campus. Yes, dear learners, we'll start with the definition of tense. Let us look at the sentences. Look, it rains in April. Okay, I can say it's raining now. You can also say it rained a lot yesterday. We can say it will rain tomorrow. Look at the sentences and see the change in the verbs. First sentence, it rains in April. It does not mean it is happening now. Second sentence, you see, it's raining now. I mean, its time is present, the action is going on. See, second sentence we find a change in time, same time change in the verb form. Third sentence, you see, yesterday, again time is changed here. So does the verb. It rained, the past tense is in the sentence, the verb is in past form. The last sentence, you see, it will rain tomorrow. The word tomorrow is here. You understand? Only for time, the tense of the verb is changing. So if we want to make a definition, how can we give? You see, dear learners, look at the time, change of time. Time is changing along with the change of verbs. So there's a kind of relationship between the time and the action of the verbs. So we can say tense is the change of time. You can say change of verb. I'm repeating, tense is the change of verb with the change of time of action. Dear learners, you see the definition. Tense is the change of verb with the change of time of action. So as soon as time changes, the tense of, you can say, the verb also changes. In Bengali আমরা বাংলা দেখে বলতে পারি, কারণ আমাদের এই ক্লাসগুলো শুধু বাংলা মিডিয়াম নয়, ইংলিশ মিডিয়ামের ছাত্ররা দেখবে, তো তাই আমি একটু মাঝে মাঝে বাংলা বলবো, যদি এটা ইংলিশ ক্লাস। এনিওয়ে, সময় পরিবর্তনশীল, আর এই সময়ের সাথে সাথে ভার্বের রূপ বদলায়, জীবন বদলায়, সবকিছু বদলে যায়। এভাবেই পরিবর্তনশীল সময়ের সাথে ভার্বের রূপ বদলানোর নামই টেন্স। আমরা বদলে যাব, টাইম চেঞ্জ হবে, উইল অলসো চেঞ্জ আওয়ারসেলফ। তার মানে রাইট ফর্ম অফ ভার্ব ইজ রিয়েলি ইম্পর্টেন্ট ফর আওয়ার লাইফ। Time changes, we change our actions, behavior. Yes, if we learn right forms of verb, we will be able to change ourselves appropriately and correctly. We will see the right change in our life. Okay, dear learners, this is the definition, and there's one thing you have to remember. As I said, tense is the change of, time changes, verb changes. But remember, there are some exceptions. Not all the time verb changes with the change of time. Remember, there are some cases. You look at the example. It would be better if I completed my work now. So the time is now, time is present, but the action is in the past. Do you see any relationship between time and action here? No. These are unreal actions. Can you see the word unreal? Present or future. So sometimes we see sometimes we do not see the relationship between the time and tense. Time and verbs. Okay. Look at this example. I'm meeting him tomorrow. Look at the example. I'm meeting him tomorrow. The time is future, but the action is now. I am meeting. Action is now here. So you see again, no connection with the time and action. So it means present verb indicates future. So there may have exceptions. আমি এগুলি বললাম এই কারণে যে টেন্সের সংজ্ঞা কিন্তু ঠিক আছে, কিন্তু এর মাঝে কিছু ডিফারেন্স আছে, ব্যতিক্রম আছে। দেখালাম যে সব সময় টেন্সের সাথে ভার্বের চেঞ্জটা সব সময় হবে তা না। There are some exceptions. There are some unreal situation, unreal actions. Dear learners, আশা করি তোমরা বুঝতে পেরেছো যে ডেফিনেশনের সাথে কতটুকু ব্যতিক্রম থাকতে পারে। আমাদের জীবনেও চেঞ্জ আছে। There are some exceptions in our life as well. তো জীবনের সাথে সবকিছু একটা মিল আছে, গ্রামার বলো, সবকিছু একটা কানেকশন আছে। There are some exceptions in our life. There are some exceptions in tense and verbs and actions. Okay, dear learners, we will talk about the kinds of tenses. আমরা সবাই জানি tenses are basically of three kinds. সবাই জানি আমরা simple present, present tense, past tense, future tense. আবার এই প্রত্যেক প্রকার টেন্স চার প্রকারে ভাগ করা হয়েছে. You know that each tense falls into four categories. Number one, you can say simple or indefinite. Number two, continuous, perfect continuous. Dear learners, we have to develop the skill of using tense very appropriately. Let us enjoy the environment of our class, enjoy the charm, the beauty of NDC, and let us enjoy the class as well. Okay. Simple present tense. Let us see some examples. Let us look at some examples. Traffic occurs during office hour. Traffic occurs during the office hour. Okay. After you look at the example, I will ask some questions. Number 2, people use English for communication. Number 3, parents always take care of their children. Water boils at 100 degrees Celsius. First question for first sentence. When I say traffic occurs during office hours, dear learners, does it or is it a temporary situation? Does it happen all the time? Yes. So it is no more a temporary situation. Number 2, people use English for communication. Isn't it a repeated action? Or does it happen repeatedly? The answer will be yes. People use English repeatedly, frequently, every day, for all the purposes. Parents always take care of their children. Isn't it a regular activity? Or doesn't it happen? This is the question. Doesn't it happen regularly? Yes, it happens regularly. When I say water boils at 100 degrees Celsius, is it a true fact? Is it true? Doesn't it happen all the time? It happens all the time. So how can you define, dear learners? Let us define. Number 1, the sentence number 1 shows permanent action. Sentence number 2, it shows repeated actions. Sentence number 3, it shows regular actions. Number 4, we find the fact or true action, the actions that take place, that always takes place like this. So how do you define simple present tense? You can, yes, repeat please. Simple, can you share with me? Simple present tense refer to an action that is permanent or happens repeatedly or regularly or happens all the time. So everybody সবাই আমার সাথে বলো কি বলছি? Simple present tense refers to an action এমন কাজ নির্দেশ করে যে কাজগুলো স্থায়ীভাবে বারবার হয়ে আসছে, হবে বারবার হচ্ছে, প্রতিদিন হচ্ছে, প্রায় সবসময় ঘটছে কাজগুলো। এরকম কাজের ক্ষেত্রে আমরা সিম্পল প্রেজেন্ট টেন্স ব্যবহার করে থাকি। বন্ধুরা, তোমাদের কিন্তু টেন্স শেখা আর হবে না কখনো। ইন্টারমিডিয়েট পাস করার পরে তোমরা টাইম পাবে না টেন্স শেখার। দ্য লাস্ট টাইম অফ ইউর লাইফ, জীবনের শেষ সময় টেন্স যতটুকু পারো সুন্দর করে শিখে নাও। টেন্স রাইট ফ্রম ভার্ব শিখলে টেন্স শিখলে রাইট ফ্রম ভার্ব তোমাদের শেখা হয়ে যাবে। এনিওয়ে, I'm repeating, simple present tense refers to an action that is permanent or happens repeatedly or regularly or all the time. That's fine. Now, what are the structure? It's very simple structure, all you know. Before we come to the structure, we'll look at the structure. Let us explain a bit. See, when I say traffic occurs during office hours, see the one is past, now present, and future. See, it means traffic occurred in the past, it is occurring now, in future it may occur. So this shows that the action is almost permanent. It happened in the past, is happening now, it may happen tomorrow, all the time. This is the exact context of simple present tense. The actions that usually happened, it happens now, will also happen in future. It shows that this is a permanent action. The action is happening all the time. So we have to remember this context very well. The actions that happens all the time are permanently like this. So remember the diagram. The diagram may help you understand or realize the exact context of simple present tense. Yes, dear learners, we have to know the structure. There are three or you can say few structures like positive, negative question. Let us first learn the positive structure. You know, subject, and then you can see verb, Sometimes the subject is third person singular number. For that we have to take s or es with the verb and then others. It's very simple. For example, he walks in the morning. And for negative structure, as you know very well, subject plus do not or does not plus base form of verb and the others. Like, he does not walk in the morning. He does not walk in the morning. See again, he walks in the morning, he does not walk in the morning. He does not walk in the morning. Okay. Now how to form question, doer, does, and then subject plus B1 plus all. I'm sure you know all about it. You know the structure. Even revise. There's something you learn. Maybe there's something you have already known. You have already got it. There's something maybe is known to you, but there will be something that is not known to you. Do the question structure do or does according to the subject, only for third person singular number you have to use does, or for all other cases আমরা শুধু third person singular number ক্ষেত্রে does শব্দটি ব্যবহার করে থাকি কোশ্চেন করার ক্ষেত্রে, আর সব ক্ষেত্রে do হবে. Okay, like does he walk in the morning? Okay, so you see the structure. He walks in the morning. He doesn't walk in the morning. Does he walk in the morning? If I say he reads very hard, he does not read very hard. Does he read very hard or doesn't he read very hard? So do practice like this. If you do practice like this, one day you will develop your speaking ability. Do practice. Do try repeatedly. Okay. Now there are some situation, there are some contexts, there are some বন্ধুরা জানো তোমার কনটেক্সট মানে হচ্ছে ব্যবহার ক্ষেত্র. কিছু ক্ষেত্র আছে, সেই ক্ষেত্রগুলোতেই এক প্রকার টেন্স ব্যবহার করা হয়. আমরা ইংলিশে বলি কনটেক্সট. তো ক্ষেত্রগুলি জানতে পারলে আমাদের ইংলিশ শেখাটা সফল হবে, সাকসেসফুল হবে. So let us talk about the contexts where we have to use simple present tense. Okay. There are different kinds of truths, like universal truth, like historical truth, geographical truth, scientific truth. So for any kind of truth, as I said, any kind of facts, any kind of habits. So when we see is a kind of true event, when we see is a fact that may not change, when you see is someone's habit. These are the very specific areas, the specific purposes you have to use the simple present tense. Now look at the example. See here, the earth moves around the sun. It may not change in our life. It never changes. Bangladesh becomes independent in 1971. Historical truth. The time is mentioned, you see, but I am expressing here historical truth. So I can use becomes. I can use becomes. It does not mean that এর মানে এটা নয় যে আমরা সব সময় নিবেদ ব্যবহার করব. ব্যবহার করা যায় এবং এখানে আমরা হিস্ট্রি ক্ষেত্রে পাস্ট ব্যবহার করা যায়. আই এম শোয়িং ইউ দ্য কনটেক্সট যে এখানেও ব্যবহার করা যায়, এক্ষেত্রে ব্যবহার করা যায়. Like time flies very fast is very true. True action, you see. Tree gives us oxygen. That's a bit fact. That's a true. You see, he always comes late. His habitual fact. Dear learners, this is how you have to be aware of the context of habitual fact, like a true event, like habit, or any kind of truth you can say. The different time you practice and practices, then you can use it very, very fairly well. Okay. You see, we find some changes in our life, in our time, in our days, in our environment. Everywhere there is a change is there, change the call of nature. So for actions that happen regularly, there are some actions that happen regularly. So for regular actions, we have to use simple present tense. For the example of this context, I have collected some questions from board exams. The learners, you see, number 1, wrote Mishap dash in our country almost every day. The word every day indicates as a regular action. Dear learners, you understand the answer will be happens. Again, see, the members of our family dash anxious if someone travels in a bus. Is it true or is it false? See, it happens for every mother. It happens for every family as well. So there's an accident, So parents remain worried, even the family members remain worried as well. So this is a regular action that happens for every family member or everywhere else in the world. So the answer will be the members, noun is here members, the answer will be remain. The answer will be remain. Okay, the answer will be here remain. Dear learners, see the answer will be remain. That question, the captains of both their teams dash group. It's happening for every team. In every team there is a captain, there is a leader. So it says the captains usually lead the group. So the verb will lead, because it is true for every team, every match event. Number 4, a football match dash for an hour and half within an interval after half the time dash over. Okay, so the question, a football match dash for an hour and a half with an interval after half of the time dash over. Is happening regularly for all the match. Everywhere you see there 1.5 hour match, and then again there's some interval. There's the interval. Is it true? Is it happening regularly for every match? That is the simple present tense. You have to use here runs. A football. I can see the football match. A football match runs for an hour and a half with an interval. After half of the time is over. Okay. The last question you can answer very quickly. But the man who dash wrong, dash surely. See, this is a part of the question. This is not the whole question. See, the name of the board is there. But the man who gives up the wrong suffers, or it will suffer surely. Again, this is happening for everybody. When you give up something wrong, you may get punishment, or you may suffer a lot. So these are the examples to make you aware that the regular actions, regular events happening for all the time. So we see, if you learn tense, you can answer different questions from different board. Even later on, we'll see, you'll be able to answer universal question. Okay. You see, we often read stories to narrate a story, to describe a story. We can use simple present. We like cricket, we like football. You see, the commentators often use simple present tense. So if you want to be commentator, you have to use simple present tense very well. And for instructions, you see, look at the picture. You have read a storybook and you are describing it. What says here? So I open the door and I look out into the garden and I see the man who looks pretty and he smiles upon simple gifts. See, the story is presented in simple present tense. When you will be writer, when you write a story, you can even use simple present tense. When if necessary, see, The commentator is a very renowned commentator. He is a very, very renowned person. So, how do we comment in cricket? Shakib Al Hasan, he bowls with line and length. Okay, so the ball gets outswing. He hits the ball, and that is a foul. Or you can say that is the ball is in the air and is caught up. He fumbles. He hits the ball and it is a foul. See, we often use simple present tense for commentator, dear learners. Even for instructions, when you instruct or when you give instruction to some people, কোনো মানুষকে আমরা যখন নির্দেশনা দেই এভাবে কাজটা করবে, আগে এখানে নামবে, এখানে বসবে, এভাবে করবে, এভাবে করলে আমরা সিম্পল, we can use simple present tense. See, how do I get the station? Now you just give instructions. You go down to the traffic lights and then you turn left. First you roll out the pastry, then you cut the circle with a cup or a glass. Dear learners, so when we instruct somebody, we can use, it doesn't mean all the time, we can use simple present tense. There are other uses. There's adverbs, generally, normally, mainly, usually, traditionally, often, sometimes, never, every. We can use simple present tense with the adverbs. It's very known to you. The question of university question you see. Rabindranath Tagore's stories often have surprising ends. So this is usual fact. This is a general fact. Okay. His bosses regularly scolds him. So the word regularly. Arif always arrives on time. See the word always. This is a university question. Shaheen, tennis once or twice in a week. See, once or twice is a kind of habit or regular action. You see, the answer will be C, is playing is not acceptable here. Then is usually playing is not acceptable here, The word usually is here, usually plays. So the answer will be C. Shaheen usually plays tennis once or twice a week. Okay, dear learners. Passive structure is important. We have found that the simple present tense is used in question. And basically, we have seen passive structure of simple present tense. তার মানে passive structure মাঝে মাঝে simple present tense আমরা খুঁজে পাই. See, we arrange a football match between two teams. The passive voice পড়ো কি হবে? এখানে অবজেক্ট কোনটা আছে? Two teams are arranged in a football match by us. You see the answer. A football match is arranged between two teams by us. It's the question. Dash the building dash of white marble with inlays of colored marble. The building is made. The building. একটা প্রশ্নটা কেন passive voice বুঝি কিভাবে? How is it passive voice? দেখো আমরা প্রশ্ন করি ওয়ার্ড দিয়ে। ওয়ার্ড দ্বারা প্রশ্ন করলেই দেখো উত্তরটা এখানে কি তৈরি করা হয়? হয়েছে বা কি তৈরি হয়েছে? বিল্ডিং। তার মানে এই বিল্ডিং শব্দটি ওয়ার্ডকে অ্যানসার করছে। তার মানে ওয়ার্ড দ্বারা প্রশ্ন করে যদি আমরা আগে উত্তর পাই তাহলে সেটা টেন্সটা হবে তোমাদের সেটা হবে প্যাসিভ ভয়েস। The building is made. Again you see this question, the referee is to see whether rules or order are maintained by the players. Again you see another question, when a child is born there are joys no bounds. Dear learners, there are some other ways we can use simple present tense to talk about time, place, weather, age or schedule. Like it is 10 o'clock, it is 12:30. Dhaka stands on the Buriganga. Taj Mahal is in India. It is very cold today. See that when I say it's very cold today, you are talking about weather. It's a beautiful day. Again, weather. She is 10 years old. She is older than me. Again, age. Then, see, for that purposes of talking of when you talk about time, place, weather, and age or schedule, we have to simple pattern. Dear learners, there are other contexts like we often use simple present tense with the word promise, agree, accept, hear, deny, gather. Remember the words. This is an important word. We often use these words in our daily life situation. So remember the promise, remember the word accept, here, deny, gather. এই শব্দগুলোর সাথে বেশিরভাগ ক্ষেত্রে আমরা সিম্পল প্রেজেন্ট টেন্স ব্যবহার করে থাকি। I promise to be more careful. I promise I'll pay back. I agree with. You see the word, the sentence. I promise I'll pay you back. I agree with your proposal. Dear learners, I accept his offer. I accept that he will join the program. Okay, dear learners. Now we'll talk about continuous tense. Look at the example. Look at the picture and the example as well. The bus is coming. It's raining as well. So as I have seen the word, this is the bus. And this is a sentence. Look at the sentence. It's raining now. The time is now. When it's raining, don't you think it started a bit earlier? যখন আমি বলছি রেইনিং হচ্ছে, ইজ রেইনিং, তোমার কি মনে হয় না যে কাজটা একটু আগে শুরু হয়ে গেছে অলরেডি? দ্য বাস ইজ কামিং, বাস দেখো আসতেছে, কিন্তু অলরেডি কাজ একটু আগে শুরু হয়ে গেছে। তার মানে কাজটা কোথাও মাঝামাঝি অবস্থায় আছে, শুরু হয়ে গেছে, এখনো চলতে, একটু পর চলতে পারে। সো ইজ দ্য অ্যাকশন হ্যাপেন ইন দ্য পাস্ট, একটু আগে শুরু হয়ে গেছে এবং চলছে, মনে হয় একটু পরে চলবে। আমি এখন এখানে আছি, চাই নাও, এখানে দেখো আমি আছি নাও, তার মানে আগে শুরু হয়েছে, এখনো চলছে, আমি মাঝামাঝি অবস্থা আছি। এটা হচ্ছে প্রেজেন্ট কন্টিনিউয়াস টেন্স। সি এখানে বলা হচ্ছে, এখানে বলতো ইজ কামিং, ইজ রেইনিং, তার মানে কি বলো? প্রেজেন্ট কন্টিনিউয়াস টেন্স refers to temporary actions and situations that are going on, যা চলছে, এখন চলমান আছে। It means we are at the middle of the actions or situations. কোনো কাজ একটু আগে দেখা শুরু হয়ে গেছে, একটু পর চলবে হয়তোবা, আমি মাঝামাঝি অবস্থায় নাও, এটা হচ্ছে কন্টিনিউয়াস টেন্স। ওকে, তার মানে টেম্পোরারি অ্যাকশন মনে রাখবা, টেম্পোরারি অ্যাকশন or situation that's going on now. It means we are in the middle of an action. Okay. Forms of present continuous tense. The learners, there are some structures, positive, negative, and then, positive structure, subject, then be verb, am, is, are, then verb plus ing. I mean verb plus ing. It's a very simple structure, you know already. See, I am working, we are working. You are working, you are working. He, she, it. Remember the person he, she, it, or any name is working. He is working, she is working, it is working, but they are working. So the see how singular and plural work. And positive, negative, and question structure, dear learners. I am working, negative, I am not working. And aren't I working? See, he is studying, he is not studying. Is he studying or isn't he studying? They are playing, they are not playing. Are they playing or aren't they playing? Just see the structures and try to use it in your daily life situation. I believe if you practice regularly like this, it will help you a lot. Okay, now you have to know the exact context of continuous tense. Dear learners, আমাদের জানতে হবে কোন কোন কনটেক্সটে আমরা এটা ব্যবহার করে থাকি। To talk about trends or changing situation, আমাদের কিন্তু অবস্থা বারবার চেঞ্জ হয়ে যাচ্ছে। So when you find a temporary change in actions, we have to use simple present continuous tense with present progressive tense. Like the earth is changing day by day due to global warming. So there is a change, temporary change in the world. So the word is there day by day. So I have used here is changing. Like the earthquakes are occurring more frequently. Polar ice is melting very fast. So there's a change. Okay, prices of things are increasing dramatically. So dear learners, we find change in the actions or situations. So we have used here present continuous tense. When you see any changing situation or environment, you can use present continuous tense. At the same time, With now, nowadays, day by day, at this moment, always, today, constantly, always, and continually. With these adverbs, with these words, we can use present continuous tense. Remember the words. And when you talk to a friend, use the words and use present continuous tense. When he's writing, at this moment, see the phrase here, at this moment. It shows that action is going on now. So when is writing. Nitya goes to school by bus. Today she is going by rickshaw. See, now today, the word today shows a change in her action. So the sentence is here like is going. Today I am feeling very good. It means there's a change in action. Today you're feeling, maybe you were sick, now you're feeling good. She is always visiting exciting places. She's doing repeatedly. Okay. I'm always losing my pens. Okay, dear learners. Now, we can sometimes আমরা মাঝে মাঝে রিপিটেড অ্যাকশন প্রকাশ করার জন্য কি কন্টিনিউয়াস টেন্স ব্যবহার করতে পারি। লাইক আই এম ট্রাভেলিং এ লট দিস ডেজ। দেখো এগুলো চেঞ্জ খেয়াল করো, কিন্তু আমাদের যে বারবার হচ্ছে সেখানে আমরা রিপিট হচ্ছে কাজগুলো বারবার, সেক্ষেত্রে আমরা প্রেজেন্ট কন্টিনিউয়াস টেন্স ব্যবহার করতে পারি। আই এম ট্রাভেলিং এ লট দিস ডেজ। She's always traveling by bus. This is happening regularly, happening all the time, repeatedly. So remember the context. Repeated action. যে কাজে বারবার হচ্ছে, we can use. তুমি বলতে পারো আমি ইদানিং বারবার ভুলে যাচ্ছি, I am forgetting my things every day. মানে আমি ভুলে যাচ্ছি কিন্তু বারবার হচ্ছে এটা, বারবার ঘটছে এটা, সেক্ষেত্রে আমরা present continuous tense ব্যবহার করতে পারবো। Okay. Talk about future action. তুমি বললে আমি কালকে যাচ্ছি, আমি কালকে পড়তেছি, কালকে দেখবো, কালকে কথা হবে। See again continuous tense, I'm doing the work tomorrow. He's coming tomorrow. See, for future action, we can also use present progressive tense. একটু ভালো করে খেয়াল রাখো, তোমার খাতা লিখে রাখো, নোট করে রাখো, তোমাদের কাজে লাগবে। Then state verb. এগুলি আবার কারা? কিছু ভার্ব আছে যারা নিজে চলমান কাজ নির্দেশ করে, এটা বলা হয় স্টেট ভার্ব। সেগুলি কারা কারা? যেমন দেখো আমি সি মানে দেখা, দেখা কাজটি চলমান। যদি বলা হয় আমি পাখি দেখিতেছি, তাহলে আই সি এ বার্ড, আমি পাখি দেখি, তাও আই সি এ বার্ড। তার মানে স্টেট ভার্ব সেগুলি কারা দেখাতো? নরমালি প্রেজেন্ট কন্টিনিউয়াস is not used with state verbs as they refer to general truth rather than temporary action. এগুলো জেনারেল ট্রুথ ডিসক্রাইব করে, তাই এই শব্দগুলোর সাথে আমরা প্রেজেন্ট কন্টিনিউয়াস টেন্স ব্যবহার করি না বা করা হয় না সাধারণত। আমরা হলে সেটাও জানবো। সেই ভার্বগুলো কারা? থটস লাইক এগ্রি, অ্যাসিউম, বিলিভ, ডিসএগ্রি, ফরগেট, হোপ, নো, রিগ্রেট, রিমেম্বার, সাপোজ, থিংক, আন্ডারস্ট্যান্ড। ফিলিংস, the feelings verb like adore, despise, dislike, enjoy, feel, hate, like, love, mind, prefer, want. Sense verb, you see, feel, hear, see, smell, taste. And then position, you see, have, own, belong. And the description, see the word appear, contain, look, mean, resemble, seem, sound and we. These are the words. এই শব্দগুলোর সাথে আমরা কন্টিনিউয়াস টেন্স আমরা ব্যবহার করি না। তো এই শব্দগুলি ভালো করে মনে রাখবে। These are state verbs. এগুলো সব সময় জেনারেল ট্রুথ কি ডিসক্রাইব করে, তাই আমরা এই শব্দগুলোর সাথে কন্টিনিউয়াস ব্যবহার করি না, ডিয়ার লার্নার্স। তবে যদি এই শব্দগুলি দ্বারা টেম্পোরারি অ্যাকশনকে নির্দেশ করে, তাহলে কিন্তু আমরা we can use continuous tense with the words. You see, some state verbs can be used in continuous form when the meaning is temporary. Temporary শব্দ মনে রাখবা, যখন এই ওয়ার্ড শব্দগুলো টেম্পোরারি অ্যাকশন নির্দেশ করে বা চেঞ্জ প্রকাশ করছে। Look at the example. She is tasting. আমি যদি বলি খাবারটা খুব সুস্বাদু, it tastes very well. The food is very tasty, but the food tastes very well. Okay. কিন্তু এখন এখানে কি করা হচ্ছে? এখানে কি সামনে হচ্ছে নাকি উদ্দেশ্য হবে এখানে খাবার টেস্ট করা হচ্ছে? দেখো, She is tasting the curry to see if it needs more salt. I mean, taste with a purpose. So you can say tasting. I am feeling fine at this moment. You are feeling fine. I mean, there's a change in your feeling. The water is tasting bitter. Usually, water does not taste bitter. The change is tasting. We are having a very bad time. আমার এখন তো করোনাকালীন সময় ব্যাড টাইম পাস করছে, এরকম স্বপ্ন থাকে কিনা বলো? তো এই যে ব্যাড টাইম, টেম্পোরারি টাইম, ডু ইউ বিলিভ, ডোন্ট ইউ বিলিভ দ্যাট দ্য টাইম we will overcome the time very soon? অবশ্যই আমরা এই টাইম থাকবে না, এটা টেম্পোরারি টাইম, আমাদের জীবনের সমস্যাটা আছে। তারপর we are having a bad time, the temporary action. He's smelling the meat to see if it's bad. So the purpose, different purpose, সে দেখছে মাংসটা খারাপ কিনা বা এটা কোনো নষ্ট হয়ে গেছে কিনা। Nowadays, I am hearing my mother. I am hearing মানে কি বলতো? I am hearing my mother with attention. তারপরে change in action দেখো আছে এখানে। এক্ষেত্রে এই স্টেট ভার্ব সবগুলোর ক্ষেত্রে আমরা কন্টিনিউয়াস টেন্স ব্যবহার করতে পারবো যদি আমরা এভাবে কোনো চেঞ্জ বা কোনো কি বলতো ডিফারেন্ট পারপাস বা যদি কোনো টেম্পোরারি অ্যাকশনকে নির্দেশ করে, তাহলে we can use present continuous tense with these verbs, all state verbs. Dear learners, you have to practice. So I have here set 3 practices based on present indefinite continuous tenses. Maybe there are some more tenses used in the question. Please do practice. Fill in the gaps with the correct form of verbs. This is one practice for you. Please do it at home. And then practice number 2. Come up with the answer. I believe you can find all the answers using the rule. You can answer all the questions using the rule. The rules are set here in the example. Third practice, please dear learners, do it. Please do it. It will help a lot. It will help you a lot. And every time I'm really thankful to the books. See, look at the books. These books helped me a lot to prepare my lesson, dear learners. You can also buy some of the text if you want, dear learners. I'm really thankful to you. I'm really thankful to you because of your patience. Dear learners, if I make any mistake, and you can say irrelevant mistake or you can say unwanted mistake, I'm really sorry for that. Please stay home and stay safe. Thank you. See you again. Take care.